We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Evidence that the UN is complicit in the October 7th attack on Israel, Secretary Austin hospitalized again, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is back in the hospital at Walter Reed for an emergent bladder issue and has transferred his powers to the Deputy Defense Secretary, according to Pentagon officials. Pentagon Press Secretary Major General Patrick S. Ryder confirmed Austin was at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, adding that the Deputy Defense Secretary, Joint Chiefs of Staff, White House, and Congress have all been notified. In a statement, Ryder said Austin was transported by his security detail to Walter Reed at about 2:20 p.m. on Sunday, adding that he is retaining the functions and duties of his office. The Deputy Secretary is prepared to assume the functions and duties of the Secretary of Defense if required, the statement read. Secretary Austin traveled to the hospital with the unclassified and classified communication systems necessary to perform his duties. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Sunday that victory over Hamas in Gaza is within reach. Netanyahu made the statement during an appearance on Fox News Sunday with host Shannon Bream. He said Israeli forces have beaten Hamas back to its final stronghold in Gaza and argued the campaign must continue to deliver the final blow. Victory is within reach, Netanyahu said. We have already destroyed 3/4 of Hamas's organized terrorist battalions. 3/4, 18 out of 24. We're not going to leave the other 6. That would be like you leaving 1/4 of ISIS in Iraq in place and you say, well, they can have their little territory, it's okay. Obviously, ISIS would reestablish itself. Hamas-ISIS would reestablish itself too if we don't finish its last remaining bastion, he added. The Israeli Defense Forces say it recently launched raids on Hamas facilities in Gaza, killing 120 terrorists while discovering a significant amount of assets and weapons, including those inside a United Nations affiliated building. In a joint statement made with the Israel Security Agency, the Israeli military announced Saturday that the raids were conducted in northern Gaza over the past 2 weeks. The forces operated in the areas of Shadi and Tel al-Hawa in northern Gaza, the joint statement read. Approximately 120 Hamas terrorists were killed and 20 terrorist infrastructure sites were destroyed as part of the operation. The IDF explained that the ISA initially led them to a tunnel shaft near a school run by the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. Israeli Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant said that Israel has new evidence that dozens of individuals employed by the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, the controversial UN aid agency responsible for the welfare of millions of Palestinian refugees and their descendants, were directly involved in the atrocities carried out against Israeli civilians on October 7th. Gallant said the country had knowledge that dozens of UNRWA staff were involved in the Hamas-led massacre. While he declined to give a specific figure, Gallant said it was a far greater number than the 12 employees already acknowledged and dismissed last month by the organization. Georgia lawmakers on Friday officially kicked off their investigation into allegations of misconduct by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, who brought the election interference case against former President Donald Trump. Republican State Senator Bill Cousert opened a meeting of the state Senate Special Committee on Investigations with a bombshell revelation that multiple whistleblowers from the Fulton County DA's office have come forward to testify against their boss. He said they allege Willis misused state and federal funds, allegations that come after the embattled DA admitted to having a relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade that critics have called improper. This is not a political witch hunt. This is a quest for the truth, Cowsert said at Friday's meeting, according to Fox 5 Atlanta. The Biden administration has confirmed that terms like MAGA, Trump, and Kamala were included in the push by federal investigators for banks to surveil private financial transactions following the January 6, 2021 protests at the U.S. Capitol. The letter sent Friday from the Treasury Department to Senator Tim Scott, the top Republican on the Senate Banking Committee, notes that exchange events convened by its Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN, began shortly after January 6th under the prior administration and included terms such as Antifa, MAGA, Trump, Biden, Kamala, Schumer, and Pelosi. This marks the first time the Biden administration has gone on the record to confirm some of the keywords included in the January 6th related push by investigators. Banks were requested to search for these terms in customer records. There was no search warrant issued. President Biden has stated that the special counsel report cleared him of willfully taking classified documents. In actuality, the report specifically said that he did willfully and illegally take classified documents. The combination of this statement and his having yet another memory failure during a statement where he denied having memory problems have turned liberal media against him. The New York Times editorial board slammed President Biden's press conference that he gave in response to special counsel Robert Hur's assessment of his poor memory. The editorial, published Friday, declared that Biden's assurances during the presser that his memory is fine didn't work, and that they raised more questions about his sharpness. The board then advised Biden that he needs to do better to convince the American people that he's up to the job. Axios has now become critical of Biden's border policy as it becomes clear that Biden is not capable of a second term. And in closing, the Kansas City Chiefs won Sunday's Super Bowl, beating the San Francisco 49ers 25-22 in overtime. It was Kansas City's third NFL championship in 5 years. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.